Buzz Legault's unexpected return to Gold Rush during the November 28 episode left longtime viewers stunned. For months, it seemed as though his time on the show had quietly come to an end. His dramatic fallout with Rick Ness in season 15, along with his emotional tribute to his late partner, had many fans convinced he had closed the door on mining television for good. But then, without warning, Buzz stepped back onto the screen and nothing about him was the same. The first shock wasn't his job or the mine he joined. It was Buzz himself. Fans who had watched him for years knew him as the tough, rugged, no-nonsense foreman with uneven, worn, and visibly damaged teeth, a miner whose face told every story of hard winters, long shifts, and decades of Yukon gravel. But the man who appeared in season 16 looked dramatically different. His teeth were straight, bright, and perfectly white, the kind of polished smile that practically gleamed under the camera lights. It was the kind of transformation that couldn't be ignored, and even Buzz acknowledged it openly, hinting that his new dental work came from time spent in Mexico. For many viewers, it was like seeing an entirely new person wearing Buzz's clothes. That visual surprise set the tone for an even bigger revelation. Buzz wasn't just back, he was stepping into a new chapter of life, one that very few fans saw coming. But before anyone could process the baby news he was about to reveal, the episode took viewers back to the reason so many thought Buzz had walked away forever. In season 15, the tension between Buzz and Rick Ness had reached a boiling point. As a longtime foreman, Buzz was used to responsibility, but an especially grueling stretch of excavator work pushed him to the brink. Feeling demoted and unappreciated, he made the decision to simply stop working. He leaned back in the excavator and took a nap, a move that stunned the crew and pushed Rick Ness into a confrontation. When Ness gave him an ultimatum, either contribute or leave, Buzz didn't hesitate. Those 3 words, "I've had enough," seemed final. And the episode aired like a farewell, the kind of moment reality TV audiences recognize as a character's exit. 4 months after, fans debated on social media whether that was the last time they'd ever see Buzz on the show. Many believed he had quit for good, especially after the emotional circumstances of his private life became public. Buzz had spent years with his partner, Suzanne Susie Audi, a woman he deeply loved. She died on November 27, 2023, after a battle with cancer, and Buzz was with her in her final moments. Shortly after her passing, he shared a tribute video online, a touching collage with the words, "A man's most precious jewel is the woman who walks by his side." The clip made its way into the Gold Rush community, and the show even acknowledged her with a heartfelt tribute. Fans grieved with him, assuming Buzz would need time, maybe a long time, before returning to the spotlight. That made his new appearance even more surprising. Not only did he look different, but he seemed to be rebuilding his entire life from scratch. And then he said it. During his season 16 return, Buzz revealed that he had a baby on the way, a statement that sent shockwaves through the fanbase. Viewers sat in disbelief, replaying the moment, unsure if they heard correctly. Many had assumed Buzz was still mourning and living quietly after the tribute to Susie. Instead, he was beginning a completely new life chapter, one that included stability, commitment, and fatherhood. The news made sense of his next revelation: he had left Rick Ness's crew. Buzz explained calmly that working for Ness had been unstable, and with major changes happening in his life, he needed a job that offered structure and reliability. That need led him to Kevin Beats, where he made his official return to mining and to the show under a new leader. His tone was firm but clear. Whatever he once had with Ness was over. Buzz wasn't angry, he was simply moving on. Off camera, more pieces of the puzzle came into focus. In April 2025, Buzz quietly posted a message on Facebook celebrating his fiancée's birthday. He referred to her as the mother of his future child, a rare glimpse into the personal world he usually kept private. He didn't reveal her name, didn't share the timeline of their relationship, and didn't provide updates about the pregnancy. He protected her identity completely, choosing instead to simply celebrate her and the future they were preparing for. For a man who had lived through a heartbreaking loss not long before, the announcement felt both surprising and deeply human. Back on Gold Rush, the focus remained on the practical impact of his return, what his skills could offer the Beats crew. But fans were watching something more dramatic unfold. Buzz's new smile, his excitement about becoming a father, and his decision to seek stability all pointed to a miner at a crossroads. He wasn't the same foreman who fell asleep in an excavator during a long shift. He wasn't the grieving partner trying to hold himself together. He was a man rebuilding his life piece by piece, with a new family, a new job, and a new sense of purpose. Buzz Legault's story has never been simple. It has been shaped by difficult work, difficult loss, and difficult decisions. But now, he has stepped back into the public eye with a renewed spirit that many fans didn't expect. His fresh smile isn't just dental work. It's symbolic, a signal of healing, change, and a future he is finally ready to embrace. As season 16 continues, viewers are watching Buzz not just as a miner, but as a man in transition. The rugged foreman with the weather-beaten teeth has been replaced by someone determined to move forward, even after heartbreak. And whether the cameras capture it fully or not, Buzz Legault seems to be entering what might be the most hopeful and transformative chapter of his life yet. For many fans, that grief was still fresh. The show paid tribute to Buzz's longtime partner, Suzanne Susie Audi, after her death in 2023. It was a moment that stuck with viewers. They saw the raw pain on Buzz's face, the solemn look in his eyes, and the weight of a man who had lost far more than any gold claim. So when he returned to season 16 not only with a dramatically new appearance but also with news of a baby on the way, many felt caught off guard. The surprise wasn't judgment, it was confusion. How could someone still grieving such a monumental loss move into an entirely new stage of life so quickly? When Buzz returned, he looked like a man trying to rebuild. The first visual sign was his teeth, bright, straight, and impossibly clean compared to the uneven, damaged smile he had for years. It wasn't vanity. It was symbolic. It was a physical marker of emotional rebuilding. Buzz wasn't trying to erase the past, he was trying to find a version of himself that could keep going beyond it. And that's where the story turns from surprise to understanding. Grief doesn't have a schedule. It doesn't respect timelines or expectations. Some people never fully move forward. Others reach a point where they decide they cannot live in the past forever. Buzz Legault appears to be one of the latter, someone who lost the most important person in his life, sat in that pain, carried it, honored it, and eventually realized he needed something more than sorrow to keep him alive. What fans saw in season 16 was the next chapter of that journey. Buzz's new teeth, his calmer demeanor, and his decision to leave Rick Ness for a more stable job under Kevin Beats were all signs of a man trying to take back control of his life. But the biggest sign was the baby. When Buzz announced he had a child on the way, it didn't come from a place of recklessness or denial. It came from a place of hope, a word fans never expected to associate with him again. After Susie's passing, Buzz could have chosen isolation. Many thought he did. But life rarely follows the script we expect. Somewhere along the way, he met someone new. He let himself love again, something that takes unimaginable courage after losing a life partner. And instead of hiding, he decided to build a future with his fiancée, a woman he has chosen to protect from the public eye. This is the part many fans struggled to understand at first. The tribute to Susie created a moment frozen in time, a picture of Buzz as a grieving partner who might never heal. Seeing him with a new smile, a new partner, and a baby on the way challenged that mental image. But the truth is, Buzz didn't erase Susie from his life. He honored her memory. He grieved her. He stayed by her side until the very end, and he shared his sorrow with fans who watched it play out on screen. But after carrying that pain for so long, he also reached a point where he allowed himself to grow again. This doesn't diminish the love he had for Susie. Instead, it shows an even deeper truth. Buzz learned to live again. To hope again. To take risks again. To rebuild a life from the ashes of one that was lost. And that is why his baby announcement shocked so many fans. They weren't just surprised by the news itself, they were surprised by what it meant. It meant Buzz survived his grief. It meant he found happiness again. It meant the man they saw broken in season 14 and season 15 had found a way to put the pieces back together. Buzz Legault's story is not one of replacement or forgetting. It is one of healing. It is the story of a man who learned that love can continue in different forms, that life can begin again even after devastation, and that the future can hold joy even if the past held heartbreak. The surprise from fans is understandable. But the deeper truth is inspiring. Buzz Legault isn't leaving his past behind, he's finally allowing himself to move forward. And in the Yukon, where gold is the ultimate treasure, Buzz may have discovered something even more valuable, a second chance at life.